Welcome back to Mr. Orth's Flip Classroom for Grammar. Today, as we've already discussed simple and complete subjects and predicates, we'll talk about compound subjects and other sentence parts. First are definitions. Here's the list. Coordinating conjunction. These are simple joining words. Typically, people learn them by remembering the acronym FANBOYS. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. These are coordinating conjunctions. These are simple words that are used to join things that are of the same level or importance. The most commonly used ones are actually going to be and, or, but. For, typically when we use it in modern English, is going to be a preposition actually. Yet, not as commonly used today, nor, most people don't use it correctly, and so oftentimes it's used as an intensifier and more of as an adverb. Something was so fantastic or so memorable, for example. Next definition is a compound subject. These are two or more simple subjects joined by a coordinating conjunction. Fanboys. Compound verb. Two or more verbs or verb phrases are joined by a coordinating conjunction. And a compound predicate. Two or more whole predicates. That's the verb plus other describing words are joined by coordinating conjunction. Yeah, we're going to need some examples, but let's start by giving you the steps to figure these out. First, always find the verb and then circle it. Second, find a simple subject, underline and label it with SS. 3. Next, find any coordinating conjunctions. Look for fanboys. Label with the plus sign. If you want to use that symbol, that's fine, but that's what I recommend. The most common fanboys that we'll use is the word and. And from way back when you're first studying math, oftentimes we use the word and as a way of representing the plus sign or that we're doing addition. So we use a plus sign, there's a different symbol, kind of as a shorthand abbreviation, if you will. So, since we found the verb and all parts of the verb, we found any and all simple subjects, we found the coordinating conjunctions, finding something as being compound is actually pretty easy after that. So if it's more than one subject joined by a coordinating conjunction, then you have a compound subject. If you have two verbs that are joined with no other describing words in between, then you have a compound verb. If you've got describing words in between the two verbs with a conjunction in between, then you technically have a compound predicate. As always, some examples will be helpful. First one, Ahmad and Ariel discussed the Vikings game last Sunday. What's the verb? Well, the verb is discussed. There are no other verbs in the sentence, so we can't possibly have a compound predicate or a compound verb. So who discussed? Well, Ahmad and Ariel discussed. The word and is between them, and is a coordinating conjunction. So you have two subjects with fanboys in between. That's a compound subject. Second example. The soccer team rode the bus to the game but had to walk home. What's the verb? Well, the verb jumps out first as rode, but there's actually more. Had, or had to walk, and we'll explain why to walk isn't a verb later. But rode and had, those are the verbs. Who or what rode? Well, the soccer team rode. Okay, so who or what had to walk? Soccer team. If you want to put just team, that's fine, but for right now we need to know we only have one simple subject and we have two verbs. So right now we're thinking it's either going to be a compound predicate or a compound verb. Well, we need to find our fanboys, and but is the coordinating conjunction. So the key is, are there any words that explain the word rode? Yeah, rode the bus to the game. Are there any words that explain had or had to walk? Yeah, home. So each verb has its own explanatory phrases plus the fanboys in between. Since we have those additional words, then we have a compound predicate. This one might take a little more practice. If you get stuck later on with the steps, deciding what kind of compound do you have, that's okay. Start by finding the verb, start by finding simple subjects, and find any fanboys. And when you see those parts are there, then you add up those things to decide compound verb, compound subject, and compound predicate. Don't worry about figuring it out all at once. Don't skip steps. And of course, good hunting.